Thanks everyone for finding time and coming to my talk. I'm going to talk about implementing compliance in AWS with Terraform, and I want to make this as practical as possible. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask these questions. Well, it's a bit too early to ask questions. Okay. But yeah, anyway, somebody was waving. Hello. Okay, I hope so far no questions, but anyway. So let's talk about compliance. I guess most of you know what is compliance, right? Maybe I should explain it, but I'm lazy to explain, so please think about it yourself. So compliance fails because a lot of things are optional. And specifically, prevention are optional. So when we think about prevention, you think that I'm developing some infrastructure, and in some environments I want to have X, in another environment I want to have Y, or something is totally different, or architecture is very different, just because. If you don't have enough controls and enough things in place, then you will have to redo it at some point. You better do it first correctly, then you save a lot of time later. Very often compliance is just an afterthought, and when we are thinking about let's cut corners and let's do something just quick and dirty now, but then we will redo it later. I'm pretty sure that everybody who has been in this industry for some time, you went through this process, either in software development or in infrastructure management, in DevOps. In pretty much everyday life, we do this all the time. But when it comes to compliance, we need to reduce amount of effort. So it's better to do it once. Compliance fails because preventions are just optional. My name is Anton Babenko, and for the last 10 years, I've been doing a lot of things in AWS and Terraform. And some of you may know a project like Terraform, AWS modules, or pre-commit Terraform. And these were the projects which got me into this place where I am now. I really enjoy taking a lot of complicated things and just process them somehow and then make it simplified. In 2021, I guess, it was pretty hard to do serverless on AWS with Terraform, so I figured out that it's probably a good idea to simplify it, and that's how serverless.tf project started. And throughout years, I was having a lot of fun talking to the community, like you guys, and I really like travel and share information. So I wrote Terraform best practices ebook. If you're learning Terraform and you don't know which practices to use, well, just use Terraform best practices. Isn't it simple? No, of course, there are different things which you can get from that book, but also there are a lot of content which I publish on weekly.tf. It's a free newsletter which I send every Wednesday. Also, occasionally, I did live streams and had a lot of fun doing that. The field which I'm working for the past couple of years is compliance and specifically regulated industries. And that's exactly what I want to focus today, because I believe that Terraform compliance is kind of magic for many companies, for many teams, and it has to be simplified, because spinning up good infrastructure and being effective and secure from day one shouldn't be so hard. If you scan this QR code, you will see Terraform AWS DevOps repository with lots of different links which I have to different projects. So yeah, you can watch that one or start to know what I'm working on and releasing in the future. Many of you know Terraform AWS modules. I'm pretty sure that, I don't know, half of audience at least know what is it or use it. Raise your hand if you use it. Oh my God, more than half. So thank you very much for that. You know why? At some point I realized that you're all great people, you're using it. Almost none of you pay me for this work. And that's why at some point I realized that you can continue using this open source stuff. I'm not going to disappear tomorrow or delete it. Obviously, that's not how I envision my future. But at some point I realized that you guys use open source and you use it, you learn it, you appreciate it, I hope. But when I look into how it was for my parents, then in their 30s, they are like, oh yeah, let's build the future, let's do this, let's do that. And when we are looking at ourselves, like what we are doing now is like, oh my God, control automation, this control compliance framework and different crazy abbreviation. And we are not afraid of that, right? We are thinking about this is that, yeah, that's great that I know Kubernetes internals. Well, I don't, but some of you are so proud of it. Like, okay, so what? And the same here. Compliance is often treated as just a magic, right? You think like, oh, it's something else, responsibility. So there are a lot of different policies which they have to follow, a lot of spreadsheets, screenshots, and so on. Probably it is like it should be like that. And I believe that compliance is definitely not a product which you can buy. First of all, compliance is just another business requirement, which means that if you have been going through the compliance review process, then you understand that they are just an evidence that this control works and that customers can trust your company with their data. And that's pretty much it. It's just one more requirement which you have to have inside of your organization. So without this requirement, it will be harder for you to convince that customers, please trust me, your data, yeah, we have some policies, so it will be easier for them to think about it. Compliance is shared responsibility. In AWS, you know that there are some things responsibility of AWS, which is underlying infrastructure, while everything what we put inside on top of it is customer responsibility. There are many different compliance frameworks. You've heard about most of these frameworks if you I don't know, go online. Whatever you are gonna to implement in your organization typically controls encryption, different login, different access controls, different network boundaries, and so on. So it doesn't matter which framework you're going to go through. They all cover, they have huge overlap between themselves when it comes to infrastructure services. Let me explain briefly how the compliance process looks like for those who never did it. So once you identify what kind of framework you need, it can be dictated by the industry or by some other standards, then you need to run some tool, either provided by AWS or different third-party services, and you will understand what exactly is not covered. Then you obviously open your Terraform configurations, and you need to implement these required controls inside of your configuration. Sounds simple, right? I mean, you have a pretty linear process here. And then you need to automate compliance process. If you have some time, you may think about drift detection or auto remediation things, and I will show this in a second. Once you have this implemented, then you ask human to look into your screenshots, your screenshots and different Excel sheets. Isn't it cool, right? How you transition from AWS console to infrastructure as code with Terraform and then just dump it as a screenshot. You see, that's something is not matched, but that's probably a topic for next year. Anyway, you send this amount of information to a person, and then auditor will take a look and will say like, oh yeah, this screenshot looks good. I believe this screenshot, and that's great. So somehow you can convince them with your Photoshop skills as well. I'm not saying that you should be using Photoshop, obviously, but I see that there is a pretty big gap between what you've been doing and what you've been kind of learning infrastructure as code. You've been hearing for several years, and yeah, there is still a big lag here. So when it comes to different AWS services, I like a service like Control Tower because it has a lot of preventative controls, and the work there is happening quite nicely throughout recent years. Also, services like organization and service control policy, all of them are very important, and they define and help you to work with guardrails inside of your AWS accounts. If you are not afraid of word CloudFormation, then there is a tool which is called CloudFormation Guard, which is open source, but it also works with Terraform configuration. So check it out if you want to describe your guardrails as code, and yeah, and it can be quite helpful. It's a little bit hard to get started, but once you get started and you can tolerate CloudFormation in your stack set or in your tool set, then it can be quite effective. When it comes to detection, services which existed for many years, like CloudTrail, Config, Security Hub, and GuardDuty, all of them are essential, but they only work as a detection mechanism. Like CloudTrail will tell you what exactly has happened. So it's a bit too late when things already happen. And there is also a service called AWS Audit Manager, which is helpful to think about collection of evidence which auditor can access. For some cases, I like to think about it as immutable S3 bucket with KMS encryption, which you delegate access to your auditor. This is like minimum features of this service. It has a lot of other services, a lot of features in this service, but it's sometimes harder to understand them without clicking and without seeing it in action. And one more problem with this service is that I so far have not met any auditor who knew about this service, which is quite funny. Even if they know that this service exists, there are no integrations. So still, screenshots and emails is preferred way in most cases. But of course, you can put screenshot into S3 bucket. That's cool. So how to implement required controls? When it comes to infrastructure as code, there are this set of tools, Checkov, Trivi, Kix, and Terrascan. And I want to see if you use any infrastructure as code tools which are not listed here. Like, what is it? I know at least some people say TF-lint. Well, TF-lint can be used here as well, but it's very different purpose. So does anyone use anything else than this? Good. And you know why there is nobody raising hand? Because there are no other tools. Right. That was a tricky question. Well, actually, there were a lot of tools, like maybe 5 more tools, but all of them disappeared in recent years. And some of these tools, to my mind, also already on this downhill to the disappearance, because there is not enough work happening there. So the only tool which is being more or less developed, more or less, I say like at most, more or less. I mean, commits by dependabot doesn't count, is Checkov here. Chekhov can be used still, and it provides some value, but you need to be very careful when you use it, because there are a lot of false positive. And most of the time when I work with Chekhov and I run it, especially on new account, on new infrastructure, in like new setup, I have like 0% guarantee that things will work from first attempt, because there are a lot of different things which Chekhov has to be tweaked. For example, you need to specify which rules are actually failing and which rules are just implemented badly in Chekhov itself, or which platform you're using, or how did you write your Terraform code, or which features of Terraform did you use. And by the way, is it Terraform or OpenTofu, and so on. So currently, there are no tools which I can reliably give my Terraform configurations and say, what about these controls? Are they failing or not? So Chekhov and Trivia, they are doing something. But as you know, Terraform has a lot of different ways how you can describe different resources. For example, you can use very dynamic features in Terraform. You can use different loops and different dynamic blocks and overrides and many different other things, which means that Chekhov, just by analyzing your Terraform code, will not be able to tell that something is resolved and yes, it's violating something. It's also important to understand that in your organization, when you set up tools like this, you need to have a very deep human review process, especially when you adopt these tools, to understand, is it really a problem in your code, or is it a limitation or bug in the tool itself? In most cases, when I talk to people, they say, yeah, we started using Chekhov, but then we disabled it because it just complained about nonsense, and now we have Chekhov fully disabled. So yes, there is Chekhov in the pipeline, but it ignores 100% of rules. Excellent. Like, that's an achievement, I think. So nevertheless, once you run these tools and you customize them somehow, you can apply different remediation steps. And this I will go a little bit more in details when I do a demo. I just want to explain that I personally believe that if you become an expert in this infrastructure as code, static and dynamic code analysis tools like listed here, and you understand how different compliance requirements written and how this translates into like correct instructions which has to be applied into Terraform code, and you do this for your, let's say, S3 bucket module, that's great. There are very few people who understand it like from top to bottom on very meticulous level. Usually people say like, oh yeah, in this case, let's just set it to true or change true to false. Like, yeah, good, but why? And especially tricky, it comes with flexibility of IAM policies, where you know that IAM policies can be written with many different conditions, with different principles, like resource, not resource, different effects, and so on. So there are a lot of different permutation of how certain things can be implemented, while it may satisfy some control, but it's actually totally incorrect for you, for your setup. So you need to become an expert in all of this. And I believe that having compliance-ready Terraform modules is a good starting point when it comes to reducing possibilities of creating or non-compliant resources. More of this, of course, will be later. I still have, I think, 20 minutes left, so if you have any questions, get ready, okay? Because I'm almost out of slides. So overall, the flow looks like this, where you have your scanning infrastructure as code on your development machine, or later you fix it somehow, you apply this. infrastructure as code, and you scan what has been created using config rules or Prowler or SteamPipe. If you're curious about what is Prowler, here is another slide. So Prowler is my tool of choice when it comes to quickly identify the state of the cloud resources as they are now. So after my Terraform has been applied on some limited environment or in local stack, I want Prowler to go and query that provider and tell me, like, is it good or is it bad? Is there any drift? Because previously it was, let's say, compliant, it was green, and now it's suddenly non-compliant, red. So something has failed in this recent pull request, for example. Or I do it, I also run it locally as well. And SteamPipe is a similar project which allows you to query Cloud API using SQL. It also can be used quite effectively if you want to write just ad hoc queries for to get different evidence connecting different resources. So, for example, you can write query connecting S3 bucket through bucket policy to IAM user, and you can see, like, show exactly who from my users have access to this S3 bucket, respecting certain connection as a policy. It can be a bit tricky to write it as a human, and that's probably the magic where AI can help. AI can write SQL as soon as it knows how the query, how the schema is created. So you give a lot of information as schema, and you can express it in a human-friendly language, like write this query which connects this and this and this, and it will be able to figure out and write quite effective query. Though on some large infrastructures, I was told that performance can be challenging. So if you have very large data set, SteamPipe can take some time or timeout. So you need to be a bit careful for not asking like huge amount of data. Pre-commit Terraform is another project which is essential in this flow because you run it on your local machine before you commit something, as well as on CI to validate and to run tools like checkoff as part of your CI/CD pipeline. A couple immediate patterns which works. Obviously, if you have opinionated module with hard-coded security defaults, it means that users at least will not create something totally stupid right away, though if it is specified just as a default value, they can still create bad things. And if you make usage of small modules, composing them together, it will be again simpler for you to reason and to improve than if you would have one huge module which does everything. When it comes to drift prevention, and this is my last slide before the demo, because I know you're all excited for the demo, of course, right? Who is not excited for the demo? Right? One person. Okay, I will talk to you later. Okay, so drift prevention is quite simple, right? You have user wants to log into AWS console to do some click ops. Will it lead to drift? Yes, it will. Forbid this user to access AWS console, life is saved. Very simple. If it is managed AWS account, then the simplest way is to go absolutely everything through the code. But users still want to do some experiments. Great. Then give them sandbox account where they can do whatever they want. In sandbox, it will be deleted after 24 hours, for example, or put some cost cost controls or disable expensive API calls and so on. But at least that's a place where they can experiment, they can have fun, they can understand and learn services. Once they become experts, then you say, okay, now write Terraform code. Okay, don't write Terraform code, use Terraform AWS modules for that. And it will be better, then Drift will be not a big issue here. When it comes to different AWS capabilities, service control policy are very important services of capability when it comes to restricting on very expensive IAM actions. For example, buying reserved instance is probably not what you want to have everywhere, right? But it is still one API call, which is a bit surprising to me. If you have AWS CloudTrail and you want CloudTrail to log API calls, and then your event bridge can listen to these API calls and it can trigger SSM automation documents to fix it, congratulations, you have just implemented auto remediation pipeline. That's simple. If you're using Terraform AWS modules, I'm automatically publishing documentation on docs compliance CF controls related to individual modules. When it comes to S3 bucket module, that's what I have right now, for example. And demo. Let's see some demo. Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah. Okay. Good. So what I want to show here is first thing. So this is, as you can see, main TF is the way how you already write or deal with Terraform code. So let's say you want to make an S3 bucket. And when it comes to S3 bucket, you go to HashiCorp registry, you find module there, for example, and you call source here, and you specify different arguments. And you specify bucket, and you specify some other things here. That's typical use case for this. Now, if I run Terraform apply, what will happen? Bucket will be created. Come on, isn't it obvious? So far, it should be obvious. And then you hear the requirement. I mean, you don't. Maybe you didn't hear the requirement, but we are going through the compliance process. So we need to. You need to execute your cloud security posture management tool. Oh my God, I always have a hard time remember this CSPM short for. So you run a tool like Prowler. Prowler is available as local CLI. It scans my AWS account and it says that, okay, I have some things which are bad. And I want to see all findings here. And I can see here that some of these things are good, some I don't really care. But the one which seems very obvious to me is that I want to enable S3 bucket have server access login enabled. So that's pretty much, it says fail, but if I click here, then I see some risk, which explains here some remediation. And as you can see, this text here is written in plain English. So it doesn't know anything about that I'm using Terraform, I'm using modules, and it has some link to the documentation. But again, believe me, there will be nothing about Terraform or AWS module because it's official Amazon S3 documentation. So I think, okay, I understand what is the problem here. Or if I don't understand, I can go to other tool like official documentation by Chekhov, and I can see some information here. Okay, here at least I have some Terraform code, which is, again, have nothing to do with my actual code, since I'm using module, and names can be different, or there can be some other things related to the module, and some CloudFormation, and that's pretty much it. So how can I figure out what exactly to fix? Well, one way to do this is that you go to the module documentation, docs compliance TF, you find this control which says login should be enabled, and you read what you specify here. Okay, valid Terraform snippet. Okay, I got it. So I can see that in my code I need to specify this block. Good. So I specify that here. I uncomment it and I run apply. And what will happen? Yes, it will be created. Come on. It will say that it wants to destroy. Why destroy? That's kind of showing things in action. Do we want to destroy it? Of course. What can possibly go wrong? No, okay. What is this? No, I probably use wrong credentials. I have a few other accounts here, but no, it's not. I have mixed of local stack and real accounts, but it shouldn't be related. At least it was working recently. So anyway, if I run it one more time, and you forget everything what you saw earlier, right? Create bucket already owned by you. Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. Okay, let's use local stack. Local stack, for those who don't know, is instead. Oh no, we can do it because I need real infrastructure. So I need to destroy it. I need to destroy like everything in that environment. Local stack can be helpful if you on the flight, like I often do, and you still want to create some infrastructure, run some tests, and so on. But there are a lot of limitations when it comes to using local stack for something real. For example, you will have very hard time learning if service or feature is not supported in the same way as it is supported by AWS. And it can take a lot of time fixing bug, which simply does not exist if you create it in real AWS environment. I have been hit by this problem so many times that I don't want to even think about it. So as soon as I hit any limitation in local stack, I immediately say like, oh, it's bad tool, and switch to real AWS account. But it can be also quite helpful if you do a lot of checks and you know about these limitations. For example, I run a lot of automated tests in local stack, in pipeline, and I don't have to question like which environments is being hit. So now it's delete and config rule, which is kind of irrelevant for this talk, but still, I hope you have a good time, like I do. I still have some time. So going back, now it's going to create this S3 bucket, and this S3 bucket will be created with login, and that's pretty much what I wanted to do. Now, if I go to my prowler, and here is another command, which is prowler AWS, and I can specify that I want to refresh information which prowler knew about specific IRN, about specific resources. I can specify a lot of different resources here to limit scope of it, like what exactly to scan. If you want to scan it, let's say, continuously about the whole AWS environment, you can specify just prowler AWS and let it go and figure out what you have, what services, what kind of exposure do you have. In my case, I'm really interested in just 2 regions, and this is resource IRN of the bucket which is created. Bucket already exists. Well, that's too bad. Bucket exists. Who wrote this module? Really? Okay, let's see. Which logs sweet pig. That's pretty nice name. Let's see, where is it? I mean, I executed it in some weird combination and obviously in wrong time. So, do you see sweet pig here? No, but logs sweet bucket logs sweet pig. Where is this bucket even exist? Interesting. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that you have good imagination with this. I can go here, and funny enough, this is going to be recorded. I mean, so let's make another bucket just for fun and let this sweet pig to be someone else's problem. Well, probably it will be my problem, but at least not for now. So I'm going to make a bucket which is new, and finally it happened. Yeah. Well, I'm a bit kind of surprised that if this impressed you, then what are we talking even about? Okay, so now I want to run crawler and I want to run bucket sweet pig. This is new IRN of this bucket, and I run crawler AWS. So what crawler is doing now, it really talks to AWS API and scan and run different checks. In this case, it's 21 check for these couple regions and for the bucket itself. Good. So it will take a few seconds here. Now, remember at the beginning of the talk, I said, what did I say? I said this one, prevention is optional. Imagine the situation where you have a user who say like, in my case, I don't care about login, I really don't want to have it, so I will disable it. And user just create this S3 bucket using this module, but just disable it. Obviously, login will be disabled. Is this what we want when we are gonna to go through the compliance? Probably not. So the way to do this is to use module from compliance TF, which is like SOC 2 compliance TF endpoint, and the same namespace and module name as before. So now if I run Terraform init, Terraform will download a module from this endpoint, and it will be possible to execute Terraform apply. But now something should happen because, this control is enforced by this compliance framework, which means that user will have to figure out how to what exactly to provide into this login, because as it says here and in this docs web page, that you need to specify it somehow. It must be set. So now when user specify that login is required, so unfortunately I cannot make an exception for my case, so I will have to respect it and create it. So now if they specify it like this, then it will be possible to proceed. So as you can see, this SOC 2 compliance endpoint, there are many other frameworks supported already. They have different requirements, which means that using those endpoints, user will have to figure out how to how to create this bucket. There is documentation already, as I mentioned, and once they have it, then it's just created. As you can see, I have already created it, so that's why there are no changes here. If I run crawler dashboard now, And if I go to this one, no, to this one, it's the same one, but for some reason I have two. And here I go to Prowler, and somewhere here, login, where is server access login, it says pass. So as you can see, I was able to fix one small requirement which was needed by the framework, and now it says pass. And as I mentioned, I cannot override it, and I'm simply required to have this login enabled. Imagine, well, you don't have to imagine for a very long time. I'm pretty sure that you will say like, no, but in my case, there is an exception that I don't have login. I don't want to have login enabled. Ta-da, there is a solution for that. So the solution for this one is just to specify that, okay, disable this. And you just list with like controls which you don't want to have enabled. So you specify that you want to use, SOC 2 as a basic, but you want to disable a couple controls from it. Even more, you can specify that you also want to enable a couple more controls. It's totally your creativity and your requirements when it comes to this parameterization. It's very powerful way of customizing it for your needs. And yeah, I still have like 4 minutes. I guess some of you may have questions. And yeah, let's have some questions, because you saw me failing already, so let's see your questions. Any questions? Well, I know that you have questions. Okay, yeah, some questions, please.
First of all, thank you very much for the awesome presentation. It was a lot of fun. And my question is, what's the goal for the compliance.tf framework? Is it going to be a tool which is going to help us achieve compliant infrastructure, and then we're going to deal with auditing the old school way? Or do you envision some way where using this framework would be somehow like audited and being compliant and would help us have like a lighter audit procedure?
Yeah, well, very good question. I was also kind of thinking about this, like, why do I start it in first place? Like, why don't continue with open source and have fun forever? And I figure out that it's such a problem for many people right now that they are doing the same things which many of us do. So I like to take like to the gist of it and figure out what is it and make it as a service. And it's not just like service which can disappear like tomorrow. It's my only project which I work on right now. And it is a service which I put like all my time and all my heart and all my reputation there. So it's not something what you can just kind of, oh yeah, thanks, and then go back to your day-to-day activities. Please don't. At least leave your email here. But also, it's not just CLI as such. As I mentioned, it is a set of services which intended to make it absolutely impossible for you to do bad things, like incompliant resources. Or put it even another way, which is a little bit too crazy. If I do good job well, like if I do my job like extremely well, then there is no need for tools like Checkov and other tools at all, because this is already taken into account on the very left side. So the modules which I provide together with open policy agent documents or Sentinel documents, as well as several mathematical proofs, encryption, and other important mechanisms on the very left side, they are already guaranteeing that by using this code, it's impossible for you to do bad things. And that's where a lot of challenges. Like I showed ways to exclude or to disable and enable different controls. But also there are a lot of cases where people say, we want to have reports of what exactly this is doing. Because like now, I just showed you Terraform code, which probably can impress, well, I don't know, 2% of people from the audit team. They like to see reports, they like to see mapping between existing control IDs and frameworks. And that's where a lot of invisible magic is happening. So using this solution, you will have everything what you need and secure infrastructure, because it's impossible to create incompliant resources. And I showed only S3 bucket and only one control, but there are more modules in progress and much more controls in progress. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I want to have more questions. Yeah, let's do it. There are more questions, so please feel free to find me. I also have stickers if you want. I guess that's the main reason why you're here, right?
Yeah. Thank you very much for the presentation. I have this question. So if we are required to use more than one security framework, like SOC 2 or HIPAA, can we combine the modules in some kind?
Yeah. Like a module, at the beginning, I mentioned that controls between these frameworks are very similar. If you want to combine them and use one which is like super framework, currently there is NIST 800 and NIST cybersecurity framework. They are pretty complete. And if you look into what exactly is implemented, then in this one not. But in this one, cybersecurity frameworks, a lot of controls are already implemented. So which means that you can get this and it will require that this bucket is really secure and nobody can access and a lot of different things. But in reality, it's not that you need everything. In reality, is that you need everything, but with many things disabled. Because in your case, like especially if it's public website, then yeah, sorry, but it's public website, so it cannot be protected by everything. So there are a lot of exceptions, but when you have a transparency of what kind of bucket module you used and what kind of controls were enforced there, it gives significant help to the auditor to understand that, okay, this code makes it impossible for you to create a bucket which is totally bad. And this automatically increases awareness. So it's not a question of connecting different frameworks, though you can connect them. Information is in documentation. If you go to features and customize modules, here is more explanation of how different controls are enforced. So you can specify many different things here. Yeah. If you're interested in specific like edition or specific framework, or if you have any feedback, please let me know, because that's pretty much how I work. I always implement it for real use case. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so any other questions, you can find me later. And Compliance TF is website and stickers like. Thank you very much.